Roger, lots of people are very cynical about professional politicians. They see them having outside jobs and not representing them. How do you see your role?
Well, I think it's very important to establish straight away that for me, an MP, being an MP would be an absolute full-time job. Indeed, I think it will be a 7-day-a-week job to make sure I can keep in contact with the most important people for me, and that's the people in the constituency. So I see that as being absolutely critical, and I make a commitment to that. Above that, what I would say is that very often MPs can get too much stuck in a party rut. I see my job, if I am elected, as representing everybody in the constituency, regardless of who they vote for or whether they vote at all. And so my job will be to provide a professional, full-time service to everyone here in Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath.
This is a big constituency to represent. How will you do that?
Well, you're absolutely right there about the size of the constituency. You know, we've got Cowdenbeath, Lochgelly, Kirkcaldy, Burntisland, Aberdour, Dalgetty Bay, lots of other places in between. And so one of the important things is to recognise that although this is one constituency, it's made up of lots of different communities with lots of different interests and needs. So I see as part of my function is to engage with all those communities, not just to sit in an office somewhere in Kirkcaldy or Cowdenbeath or wherever. So that, for example, I am committed to running a lot of surgeries every year. Those surgeries have to be held in all the different communities. So I see myself as having a responsibility to move around and engaging with people wherever they are, not expecting people to come to me wherever I personally would choose to be. And that's very important. I think many of our communities feel as if they've been forgotten about in political representation. And my job in part is to demonstrate to them that it matters who your MP is and that your MP can be helpful for you, your family and your community.
Thank you. People are very concerned about MP expenses. What will you commit to?
Well, first of all, I can understand and I share their concern about MP expenses. MP expenses from Westminster are under much less control than they are under the Scottish Parliament, for example. But I think it's not enough to say you'll abide by the rules. The rules aren't enough. This is fundamentally an ethical question about how you as an individual will choose to behave. So that, for example, although it was in the rules that the leader of the Labour Party in Scotland put 2 cans of iron brew on his expenses, I think that is completely and utterly ridiculous. And equally, at the other end of the scale, there are MPs charging for cleaning out their duck ponds or whatever else it may be. And these large-scale expenses that are purely for the benefit of the individual, I don't think are legitimate at all. So I won't engage in any of those things, whether small or large-scale. So what do I do think expenses are for? I think expenses are primarily so that I can have a good base in this constituency with appropriate professional staff so that we can offer the best service to the constituents that's possible. Expenses should only be used in the interests of serving the constituents. They should not be used simply to satisfy the greed of an MP.
I take it that will also rule out employing relatives.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got some wonderful relatives. I've got 3 extraordinarily talented daughters and a very talented wife, but I can assure you I am not going to be employing them. What I am going to be doing is seeking out, in a proper professional way, getting the right kind of person that can support the constituents in Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath.